Okay, I think I finally found the perfect spot to film North Korea without actually being there. The Chinese city over here is called Tumen, the same name as this river, and that North Korean town over there is called Nanyang Workers District. About 6,000 people live in those apartments. As you can see, the Tumen River is quite shallow and narrow in this spot. In dry seasons, such as winter or autumn, anyone, even a small child, can cross it within minutes. And back in the late 1990s and the early 2000s, North Koreans crossed it every single day. Most of the time to beg for food, sometimes to steal food, sometimes to smuggle, mostly for food, and sometimes to rape and kill for food. While I'm here, I'd like to walk you through what exactly happened to North Korea in 1990s and how it led approximately 150,000 North Koreans to sneak into China. As you can see, North Korea has a mountainous terrain, and only 22% of its land is considered arable. And the weather here is so harsh that most of the land in this country is frost-free for just 6 months, allowing only one crop per year. So North Korea has never been self-sufficient in food production. In the past, it relied on foreign aid to supplement its domestic food production. Both China and USSR helped North Korea with its agriculture, and for decades, North Korea got cheap fuel and food from the Soviets. However, as the Soviets faced decline in 1980s, it stopped subsidizing its food and fuel and demanded North Koreans to repay the loans.
Meanwhile, South Korea underwent rapid industrialization and became one of the richest countries in Asia. In 1988, South Korea hosted the Summer Olympics and successfully isolated North Korea from its allies. Despite Pyongyang's opposition, the Soviet Union and much of the Eastern Bloc attended the Seoul Olympics. Within 2 years, some of North Korea's closest allies established diplomatic relations with South Korea, including its biggest patron, the Soviet Union. And a year later, that patron dissolved.
After the dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991, all aid was cut off. After the Soviets were gone, China became North Korea's biggest patron, providing 3/4 of its fuel and 2/3 of its food imports. However, the Chinese were facing domestic inflation, and this aid to North Korea was clearly unsustainable. And the Chinese, who used to say they were as close as lips and teeth to North Korea, now wanted cash up front. But the final blow that ruptured the relations of the two countries arrived in 1992 when China established diplomatic relations with South Korea, the sworn enemy of North Korea. As a result, China cut off its aid, and North Korea was on its own and quickly fell into an economic crisis.
When things couldn't get any worse for North Korea, on July 8, 1994, Kim Il-sung, North Korea's leader, father, and God, died. He was 82 years old. Kim outlived Stalin by over 4 decades and Chairman Mao by nearly 2 decades, and remained in power through the terms of 6 South Korean presidents and 10 American presidents. But even that wasn't long enough, because he died at a time when his people needed him most. After he passed, North Korea went straight to hell.
But between 1994 and 1996, food production fell by 60%, and fuel imports fell even more. The electricity stopped. And without fuel, coal, and electricity, winter in North Korea was absolutely deadly. To survive the cold and produce more food, the farmers had to cut down every tree in the nearby mountains for fuel and began clearing the land to farm. But just look at those mountains over there. You can hardly see any trees. All of them were chopped down in the 1990s. And in some regions, I saw farmers farming literally on the mountain top. It was pure insanity. And that's how desperate the situation was and still is. And in comparison, let me show you the mountain I am in right now on the Chinese side. It is so full of trees that people still see tigers wandering from time to time. These mountains were brothers and for thousands of years had the same plantation. But now they look nothing alike. This devastating deforestation led to soil erosion, landslide, and riverbed siltation, which would later become a ticking time bomb. And in the summer of 1995, this bomb exploded and all hell broke loose. Biblical proportions of floods overwhelmed the country. Floodings of that magnitude had not been recorded for at least 70 years. It didn't just destroy the crops, the farmlands, the harvests. It also ruined the underground grain reserves. According to United Nations, about 1.5 million tons of grain reserves were lost in the flood. On top of that, the flood also damaged several hydropower plants on the Yalu River, and the bad news was about 70% of the power generated in North Korea was from those hydropower plants. Nationwide power shortages also crippled the railway system, which was and still is almost entirely dependent on electric power. So sending food, doctors, and other supplies from one city to another was becoming very, very difficult. All this, coupled with government's failure to respond effectively to the crisis, led to the famine in the mid-1990s, and that was when the defection began. The North Korean leadership officially refers to the famine as Kunane Hengun, the arduous march. Yeah, whatever that means. Well, nobody knows exactly how many people died in the march, but it is estimated that at least 500,000 North Koreans starved to death. You have no idea how cold this is. There's a problem with my face now. Oh god, look at this. Holy shit. It's a hard work, folks. Really difficult job.